Namaskar. I'm Kumar Rakesh. You are watching Global Governance News TV. Today we're going to discuss war of narratives, Hindu versus Muslim in Bharat. I'm not talking about any other religion, but whatever incidents you have been just seen last I think last 15, 20 days, and on the eve of Ramanami, more than 10 states, all the grip of this type of tension and trying to be rights, but controlled by the concerned government, whatever reason is there, but they are controlled now. Who are the person who are just playing the with the story of narratives? Why just trying to create the scene of before 1947, during 1947, and after that? If you see the how the creative that is first they building the stone, after they trying the victim card, just whatever done in the Kashmir, same story. The script is same, implying on the different states. If you take the how the narrative is going on, you see the India narratives war ongoing discussion. Friends, when asked me why the dominant left liberal Congress spawn narrative on India is so durable, they wonder how it continues to rule not only mainstream media but also academics, diplomacy, culture, arts, literature, and other domains of soft power. Even when the UP is out of power at the center and the Congress routed in the most state of India. But to understand the persistence of the residual left liberal soft power, the explanation that Congress ruled nearly 60 of 75 years post independence India is not entirely adequate. Actually, even after the manifest failures of Congress style socialism and secularism, their idea of India, that is, a Bharat, is prevalent not only in our country but in many parts of the world. The reason for the depth and generosity is that it is more insidious than historical. The fact that ideas of India, that is a Bharat, as a continuation of the older colonial narratives, is easily supported by the current Anglophone and Anglo-centric neo-colonial stereotypes by the current it, is not understood by the many in these narratives. Much of the glory of ancient India is a myth, propped by the right-wing Hindu nationalist fantasies of the lost golden age, which is itself an Oriental invention, and neo-Ambedkar rights debunking of the ancient India is caste-ridden, oppressive, and thus fit for the rejection is therefore one vital plank. This unyielding opposition to any positive reconsideration of classical India, that is Bharat, is crucial to, uh, to the modernist Marxist secularist agenda. It helps perpetually to divide Hindus between the guilty Savarnas and the outraged Avarnas. The latter constantly in need of the reverse discrimination, if not appeasement. We have seen the appeasement last more than 60 years in Bharat, how the one community, especially Muslim community, appeased by the different rulers of the country, different parties, even sometimes BJP also. They have also the minority front also. There are also some minority leaders also. But if you are country secular, then minority department, minority affairs is no meaning. That should not be there. And here the argument advanced in the Hindu majority is unfit to assume and willpower. That's why Hindu deities, festivals, practices, and texts are ridiculed or undermined at every opportunity. As you have seen, all the incidents last 10 days, how they are just aggressive. No any Hindu person just and any communities pelted a stone on the Tajia and other procession. But why they are? What's the reason behind it? How just already our Prime Minister Narendra Bhai Modi, सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, सबका प्रयास. Why? What the meaning of slogan? Instead, the minority is constantly provoked and bubbles to criticize the ruling dispensation. Minority resentment, insecurity, stop the highlighting why or what for. Even the fabricating atrocity against them. Victim, they are playing the victim card. How they are trying to in Kashmir also. So many questions here, and we'll also discuss the origin of the Hindu-Muslim conflict in South Asia. What's the reason behind it? Actually, if you see the history, Bangladesh and Pakistan, all the old part, And now recently, 2 days back, the RSS chief, Dr. Mohan Rao Bhagwat, also just announced next 15 years, India, Bharat will be the Akhand Bharat, the vision of Akhand Bharat will be fulfilled, whatever reasons, world will see. So two things there. We have Professor Shivaji Sarkar, this is a political commentator and the political, socio-political journalist also, and also political economist also. And we have Rakesh Tiwari also from the Canada, just a journalist, a heartbeat for the India living in Canada. So I'll just start from Professor Shivaji Sarkar. How just you think this narrative war in Bharat, India?
So you see, for one, I believe in the prevailing situation, you have Akhanda Bharat, then basically controlling the Indian subcontinent. Then we will have to think of whether the conflict will reduce or increase. Because apart from Indian Muslims, there are Muslims in Pakistan, hardly any Hindu or Christian there. Similar situation is in Bangladesh. Now just count the total number of Muslims. So whether you'll be inviting a solution or a problem, that will happen. Number one. Number two, I agree, as you hinted also, that of late there has been a Hindu resurgence. And there is a reason for it, of course. Often the RSS is accused of it. The present government is supposed to be supporting all those. There may be partial truth in it. But one thing we have to understand. That the very basic and the very basis, the foundation of Islam is on basic terrorism, inhumanity, and killing those who don't believe in what they try to tell. And this hasn't started now. This has started 1400 years ago when Islam had just begun. From Makkah to Medina and Medina to Makkah, that narrative that was there, it was basically those who did not believe in the propagator, they were just beheaded. That was a very peaceful solution to the problem. So it begins from there. If you look at the holy book, it is enshrined in there. We never trust who do not believe in us. And the solution is only one. Just deprive them of their life. So unless, and this is not only peculiar to India. If you go across the world, wherever the followers of this religion have gone, the peace has been disturbed. Be it Europe, be it America. Now New York, they say we have no place to offer prayers, we'll offer it on the road. In our basic Hindu concept, road is not a holy place. It is not a clean place. And unless the place is clean and holy, we won't offer prayers here. So this is the crux, and this is just the contrary to the basic belief of virtually any religion. So right, what is right? Might is right. This is what the basic tenet of that religion unfortunately is. And the entire world is in crisis. We have seen the World Trade Tower going down all before us, one by one. And who did those did it, those fanatics. And why did they do it? Because they believed that they have to have their rules across the world. Entire Middle East now, Syria, Iraq, Iran, Jordan, Yemen, whatever you name, is virtually finished. Because they do not want, just contrary to the basic meaning of the Islam, peace. They do not want peace anywhere. You see, the biggest tragedy of this world, this century or the millennia, can you name that? That was the 1947 partition. And the fallout of that we are suffering till today. So, one thing I'm telling you, just a minute. There was a partial solution to it. You see, I have been seeing.
I'm pointing out on your just whatever just you just shared. That is the biggest point and the notion just for the country. 1947 partition. Rakesh Tiwari, I'm come to Shivaji Sarkar, and then I'll check the full inputs from you. So 1947. Just who was responsible for the partition 1? Why the partition was just done 2? And after the partition, what is the problem was there? Still there unresolved 3.
One thing, just a minute. I don't blame the British for the partition. Partition is.
Sir, I'm sir asking questions, sir. I'm not blaming anyone. Please, Rakesh Tiwari. Who is the responsible? Why
well,
the
thank you so much.
happened?
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kumar Rakesh ji, for having me. And Shivaji Sarkarji is here also. And he has given his viewpoint. And you have asked me about the partition question. You know, ghost never dies. And the ghost of 1947 will not die too until the Antim Kriya, the last rituals are completed. And they are not completed. Definitely. So the blame of partition, I'll beg to differ with Shivaji Sarkarji, that as he mentioned that he will not blame Britishers. Of course, they were the main architect of the partition, and we played along. And the narrative which was set at that time was clearly that the revolutionaries, they were put down by not only the Britishers, along with them came, I will say, the Congress has played along at that time very well. So, and the responsibility lies at that time, whosoever agreed for the partition. Look at this today's scenario in 2022. Not a single tiniest country in the world will give an inch of land, and we have given our land for no reason. So just give me about 1 second. Shivaji Sarkar can take it, and thereafter I'll be doing this.
Yes, you want me to? Okay.
Please.
Now you see, partition was the war cry that what you are talking of now started by Sir Syed, okay, who set up the Aligarh Muslim University, and it had started in 1880s and 1890s. Of course, any ruler would definitely like to have the advantage of such a situation. So the Britishers did that. They did it, and they did it fine. Okay. But now, can you undo partition? Have you ever thought of the cost of undoing partition? The implications of that? I remember it was I think 96. We were sitting at the BJP office with Advani ji, LK Advani ji. And there was some discussions. He said, thank God there was partition. Otherwise, living would have been extremely more difficult. So coming from such a seasoned politician, statement that is. Now you see, Islam or these Muslim nations do not want any kind of reformation. 100 years back, Kemal Atatürk reformed the entire Turkish society, polity, and religion. The caliphate was undone. And what we did in India? Khalifat ke liye ladai karo. So we do that kind of a foolish sense. And especially our brethren of that religion, they want it. What have they gone to do with Turkey? I do not know. I don't think, except for perhaps 0.1% of our brethren, none of them have come from Turkey. I don't know why they have such affiliation for Turkey, why they are so much enamored by Saudi Arabia. It is beyond my imagination. I live in this country. The Americans live in their country. They never look at Britain, where from mostly they have gone. So they have a very skewed mindset. And that mindset, removing that mindset, I think India can now, is in a position, has that strength to start an international dialogue on reforming Islam. Unless and until you do, I totally agree with what Bhagwat ji said just a minute in an Indian Express interview, that we are non-violent but we'll have district. That is not the solution. You have to have an international dialogue, and India can do it, nobody else, because we have a tradition. We have a tradition of a dialogue, and we can command that dialogue. But if you want to take it to UN, you'll never have a solution. You have to start that international dialogue to reform Islam, and therefrom the solution would come.
Okay, just you are talking about I'm coming to Tiwari. I'm just coming to you. You are talking about the reform, the Islam. That Islam already reformed by the many times, but the Islamic states, the original Islamic state, the birthplace of Islam, the Middle East countries and Saudi, they are already in reform mode now. You can understand, we can understand now, fourth and fifth temple is going to be just structured in that area. So we can understand the mindset of those original real Muslim, not the fake Muslim of this South Asian continent. I'm coming to your point. This time of break.
I like to make one small correction. It is not South Asia, it is Indian subcontinent.
Sir,
it is Indian subcontinent.
I'm talking the South Asia, sir.
No, it is
sir, just time of break. After that, Rakesh Tiwari, I'll take the answer from your reformation, the reform in Islam and other way. Time of the break. Welcome to the break. We are discussing on the narratives of war, Hindu-Muslim, and especially in the Bharat, India. But it is already war in the global now. This is a global war, not for the India and Bharat. Everywhere where the Muslim lives and where Muslim encroached and Muslim include, whatever reason is there. Shivaji Sarkar was saying that is need to reform the Islam. Rakesh Tiwari ji, you have come across so many experiences about this type of the thoughts and narratives and the reform and whatever. Just you have come across and you have been worked together with that fellow. Just you're not thinking they are Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, whatever. Just a human being. But do you think that narrative works there? One, do you think there will be any reform in Islam? Whatever Shivaji and any just open mind, human mind person suggest them.
Well,
My
let me say, let me just what you have asked. I'll go for that, but I'll come to that point. But let me just break a news for you. In Delhi, where you are, in Jahangirpuri, just while we were discussing this
yeah.
topic in Jahangirpuri, there is communal violence has been reported just 14 minutes before. It has been reported, and the armed forces and the police personnel have been put over there just while we are talking and discussing this point.
I
Uh,
know, sir. I am Delhi. I just whatever the
yeah,
stone
so
pelting,
just it
stone
came
pelting gods
across.
program by the Muslims. No, no media is
Okay.
taking the names. I'm taking the names,
Well, as I
and
said, this is in the
totally
we
planned way. And the
absolutely,
Hanuman Jayanti Shobha Yatra, the
absolutely.
same
So
like the Khargon and the Karoli. But
yes, yes.
Khargon is the MP government, BJP government, the bulldozer places, but not in the Rajasthan, Karauli.
Uh, yes, indeed. Let me
Whatever
let
I told you before, they
yes.
first do whatever they did. After that, they're trying to play the victim card.
Mhm.
Why and what
So
for?
let's there is
That is
a there
the
is a huge there is a I will say that if I'm not wrong here, I just I think day before yesterday or only yesterday, the news from Israel also came that Israel forces has they have gone to the Alexa mosque over there, and and they went over there, and they brought the people out, and the whole international community, a lot of the Arabian countries and Muslim countries, they have condemned it and all these things. Now the question why I brought these 2 points. See, it seems like recently, means I will say that means there is two reasons I could see that. One thing is, I think in 75 years, Hindus of India, Hindus of Bharat, okay, they have kind of had enough. Means every time, without doing anything, without taking any offensive on any offensive on any community, they have been blamed. Means you are afraid to say yourself you're Hindu. You are afraid. You feel ashamed of it. Okay, while any community in the world, any religious community, plainly they say, but you feel kind of guilty. Oh, we did something wrong, and always the blame has been put on Hindu communities since the inception of freedom in 1947. So this is every common Hindu was feeling that way. So recent outrage of the Hindu community is like we had enough. Now, on the name of religion, Pakistan was created. On the name of religion, Bangladesh was created. So at that time, when the people were asking, well, on the name of religion you have created a country, what is the matter here? So those questions nobody has answered. Nobody has answered, and the direct question was always put behind. We recently, just a couple of days back, we have celebrated Dr. Ambedkar. Dr. Ambedkar was also put down, not only means when he died, but his views about the partition, his views about independence, his views about all those things. He was very
No,
progressive.
I'm adding you,
Recently,
Rakesh. Sorry, I'm adding you thought. Dr.
I'm
Ambedkar
coming. I'm
also,
coming.
Dr. Ambedkar also just uh, uh, disagree with the conversion, either in the
Yeah,
Christianity, either in the Islam.
he was one of the, I will say that, means I'm not if you talk about the politician, he was the well read and and accomplish, you can say, academician of his time, and even recently you can say that. And his views were always put down, and only we have segregated him, we put him in the corner of just Dalit leader. He was not only Dalit leader. I recently, let me just share one, because I want to give my views about him, why and why, on this discussion as well. Um and just I came to know, and I saw that I don't think any leader's birthday have been celebrated such a way by the communities across, okay, the Dalit community and everybody, like they overjoyed, new clothes, everything, and celebrating the feast. So he was a mass leader, and his movement was put down. Okay, his thoughts, his views were like whatever we are coming, and
He was also
he
not
was
for
put
appeasement.
across.
He was also not for the
Okay,
appeasement. He never
appeasement,
advocated
yes.
appeasement. Never advocated.
Now
Yeah.
coming back to the recent tension. Let me say this: there is a we cannot I will say we cannot go away from this idea that recent uh, fight or what is happening in India between Hindu and Muslims, and this procession is going on. We know very well that in Friday, when the namaz happened, and the Jumaki namaz is which is called that Friday prayers which has happened, there's so, and not only in India, I will say in Bharat, but other places too, so where the people gather, and a kind of discourse which has been given over there, a narrative gets set over there, that and so they get constantly preached. I don't think any in Hindu community doesn't get preached that way. Sikh community doesn't get preached that way. Buddhists, they don't get preached that way. No other community get preached that way. While this is like constant teaching and reminding and
But
provoking them,
Tiwariji, one question
making them
unanswered.
feel.
Tiwariji, one
Yes.
question unanswered. Whatever raised by Professor Shivai Sarkar, the the need of reform the Islam. Do you think it is it
It
possible?
is not in a hand. It is the Muslims, they have to do it. It is the academicians who are there, the intellectuals who are there. They have
So
to
do you
see.
think they
There
will
is
do
a
it?
one. There was a
Do
one
you
term.
think they will
Let
do
me
it?
just complete my thought. Let me just
Please,
complete my thought.
please,
When the
please.
Sufism came, Sufism started by in India, in Bharat. Okay, at that time, and that was a liberal way. Okay, that was a reform at that time.
Well,
But now you
it
can
was not
see
really so.
that at this time when we are talking about it, who can dare to oppose the, the Islamization of Taliban? Okay, miss USA has run away from Afghanistan, which is not far away from it. So the idea of this, you can say, jihadi mindset, it is there. And if anybody goes and try to revert it, or try to oppose it, or try to reform it, they will get killed. Okay, so who is means when we talking about it, who is going to, it's not you and me. So and we have no right. I'll say that I'm not here to change the Islam or reform the Islam. The Islam has to be reformed by the people who are Muslim and
They will
who
never
believe
do
in
it.
Islam.
Forget about it.
Yeah, so they will not do it. So we have to point
So
out,
we
in
have to do that.
my humble understanding is this, that where whosoever goes against the humanity, they, whatever the stone pelting, they have done it. And the media, a section of media, the way they are portraying it, and the way they are putting the I will say that petrol in the fire, and where they are like, they want, there should be like, they are chanting this mantra, that okay, now this is the time, let's utilize all the resources to break India again
No, no,
on the
just
name of
Tiwari
Hindu,
ji,
Muslim, and
And
other.
just you're talking about
just a minute,
the.
Rakesh. One thing.
I'm coming, Shivaji. I'm
I have
coming
heard.
to you. Shivaji,
No, no, you are
whatever
coming to me, but I am going to you.
sir, just I'm coming to you, and just whatever Rakesh Tiwari raised the question about the India weak and strong. My 3 point submission. Whatever they projected, India as a weak, divided country with fragmented society, internally contradicted polity, controversial history, confused self-identity, would easier to rule by the people who claim to be guardians for the virtue of not belonging to any group, reason, language, and community. Essentially, outsider, they gather around the representative of various interest groups and power brokers, distributing the luggage of office and proportion, their support and efficacy and utility. This is a non-patriotic alliance of opportunists has only one binding glue, their own self-interest to retain power at all cost. And what you think about the left liberals, elites become how just happy, and whatever they gain. These are the
very
questions.
cliches, what you are saying.
Country also
These
needs
are
answers.
cliches. Cliches are not going to solve the issue. If you want to solve, you have to have the resolve and will to do it. And if you can do that, it is very easy to do it. Number one, you must believe that Islam itself is not a religion. It is a regimentation. It is a militarization of the society. Okay? And militarization of the society itself goes against the basic tenet of peace anyway. So the world community has to come together. And world community can't be brought together under the auspices of UN. So they have to be brought together under a different phenomenon. Just think of Iran, how beautiful it was, and what has been done to it. So Islam is renegade. And no renegades will like reform, because renegade means there is lots of rent seeking, lots of tortures, lots of processes to suppress people. And militarization means that only. Militarization means you have to obey that voice only. So Islam has to be democratized. You have to head where
sir.
it is not democratic. Just remember, just
Sorry,
now
sir.
you have to have, just as almost 120 years back,
I'm not a Muslim,
this like the
but I
Chicago
can tell you can't be.
World
On the
Religion
basis of my
Congress. You
experiences.
have to have a World Religion Congress here in India, and where you can have it, you can have it at Vidisha. Why Vidisha? Because that was the place of peace.
Sorry, Shivaji, you are wrong track. You are wrong track, please.
And call
Shivaji, you are
all
wrong
the
track.
religions all over the world and hit out at the reforms that they have to do this reform.
Sorry,
and if
sir.
they don't do it, declare a war on them.
Those who follows Islam don't believe in the reform and regret.
They have to do it. No, because they have, so far the entire world community is split. Once they are all together.
May I ask what you mean by Vidisha? Why do you mention Vidisha? What is the Vidisha got to do?
Vidisha is the place where the Sanchi Stup is. Sanchi Stup itself was meant for the great peace.
So are you saying that Vidisha have a role to play in Islam's modernization, or you can say reform?
Why not? You have to just declare it an icon. That's it. Ashokan pillar is there. Ashokan Stupa is there. It has the world.
Okay, sir. So nice of you.
What communication has taken place there? That is why I'm suggesting.
Whatever discussed here, the matter of the narratives. I think whatever the Bharat, India, who are the Hindus and Muslims, Hindus already tolerant. They are not intolerant like the Muslims. So they have to make the new narratives for the strong Bharat and India.
There is one thing. What you say about toleration, I'm just saying it. Toleration can't be that I offer my back and you go on hitting me. No, that can't be toleration. Toleration is I am tolerant. That is toleration.
So nice of you participating in the program, and I think we'll have more discussion on this, how the narratives are going to inform what for and why, and just for our strong Bharat. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.